award given to the Clemson player who best represents himself in the media. Those should be arriving about this time next week. Be on the lookout for that. Also, with this being a noon kick, we are strongly advising our fans to arrive early. Just with the logistics of getting everybody into the stadium for a noon game and a sold-out contest, please be advised to arrive early. Today's format, Coach will have some introductory comments. We will go to questions in the room before we finish with questions virtually. So, Coach.
All right, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It's a much better-looking group right here today with y'all's better three quarters here. But no, we're excited about the week, and again, got a lot to be thankful for. I'm really thankful for this team. The amount of work that they've put in since last January. Same with our staff. We've just this has been a good team to coach. They've been a lot of fun, good leadership, and a group of just great young people that have battled their tails off all year. And to be sitting here 10-1 and having the type of season that we had, I'm just really proud of them. The season is over, and now it's South Carolina. So there's the season, and it's South Carolina, which is obviously a goal of its own. And, excited. Doesn't matter what's happened, what's coming. It's all about, this week and, getting ready for a good football team. Man, looking at South Carolina, first of all, Shane's done a great job. What a huge win this past week, and they played their best game. And we played our best game. Two good teams, that are coming off of big wins. Where they played well, and both teams, I think, got some confidence. But you look at their football team, and defensively, they got a lot of talented guys over there. A lot of guys that we recruited throughout that defense, and especially up front, that we've got a lot of respect for. They're big, strong, and athletic guys up front. Mostly a four-down team. Do a lot of things in coverage-wise to challenge you. We know Brad Johnson. I mean, he's a 6-year player. Some of these guys have been playing a long time. Green is an excellent player. 9, I think, is one of their better players as well. Two good corners. They've kind of settled on the 2 freshmen at safety. So it's a good group. They get after you, and we got to do a nice job. And then over on the offensive side, I don't know that I've ever seen a team be hotter than what they were last week. You got a lot of confidence comes from that. Made a ton of plays. I thought the quarterback was outstanding. I mean, he played an unbelievable game. You saw what he can do throwing the ball. I mean, he had some plays where it was that far, and he was incredibly accurate. His great timing, great anticipation. I thought his receivers and tight ends really showed what they're capable of last week as well. And you've seen it at times throughout the year, but it looked like they just really put it together last week and against a really good football team. So this is a good group, very experienced up front. We know a lot about these guys. I mean, we've played against them, but they got 4 out of 5 starters back. They got a bunch of guys outside, 13 and 6. 10, 5, 3, 17, all these guys have played a lot of ball. Of course, their tight end is a Swiss Army knife type guy. He's everywhere. And second leading rusher on the team. Really good backs. I'm not sure. I know they've had some guys injured. Not sure who's back, who's playing, but really, really talented group. And then special teams, they've been outstanding. They've blocked a bunch of kicks. They've returned punts. They've had a kick return. It's been the difference for them in a couple of games for sure. So this is all 3 phases on high alert type of game. Everybody's got to play well, and we're excited about the week and getting back in the Valley. This is the last one for our seniors, and it's always a big deal when you're playing your last home game. And man, I hope our crowd will show up and really get behind them and support this team. I know a lot of people don't like a noon game, and all that stuff, but man, we need the best noon crowd that we've ever had. Come Friday, if you can come Friday, come then. Pitch a tent, whatever. Let's have a great crowd. Let's be ready. Dean, you gonna have them ready? Yes, sir. All right, let's have them ready. All right, we need a great crowd, and it should be a fun environment. And our focus is just simple. It's on finishing strong, and trying to play our best 4 quarters, trying to achieve this goal. That's our focus. That's what we feel like we can control, and that goes back to, how we practice today, how we practice tomorrow. There's a lot to manage this week with Thanksgiving and families in town and all that type of stuff. So, staying focused and again, really preparing the best we can and trying to play our best game. This is, again, a fun week for everyone all across the country. It's rivalry week. I was a part of 13 Alabama-Auburn games, and, man, that was always my favorite week of the year. And now I'm on my 19th Clemson, South Carolina game, and it's my favorite week of the year. This is a fun week because it really is. You just can feel, the intensity of it, if you will, because everybody's paying attention and everybody's involved, and it's just it's a lot. And you look all across the country, whether it's Michigan, Ohio State, Mississippi State, Georgia Tech, Georgia, Florida State, whoever it may be. It's a lot of fun to be a part of these type games. Not everybody has an opportunity to be a part of a real traditional rivalry type game. And so, man, I'm thankful for that and look forward to a great day in the Valley on Saturday.
A lot of people try and downplay the rivalry situation in different places. Why do you embrace it so openly, and what success have you found because of that?
Because I grew up in Alabama. Where'd you grow up?
Suburb of Chicago.
There you go. Northwestern and Indiana probably isn't, they're probably not having, marriages break up over that. No offense to Northwestern and Indiana. I don't even know if they play each other, but, you grow up in Alabama, it's just, that's it. I've said many times, you don't even leave the hospital. You gotta declare, like, right there, which way you going. There's no, and they put it right on your birth certificate. Otherwise, you just stay in the hospital. They don't let you leave. So, that's the best way I can answer. That's what I grew up with. That's all I know, and, just was my whole life, 33 years until I came to Clemson. Came here, I was 33, and that's all I knew. And and then growing up, and then 13 times being a part of it as a player and a coach, just in your blood, and you live with it, and you die. I've been on both sides of it, so I get it. I know how it is. I've won them and lost them. Won some on the last play, lost some on the last play. Won some big, lost some big. I've experienced every part of it, but when you grow up in a place like Alabama and then you come to South Carolina and it's no different. It's exactly the same. And that's what I experienced when I came here. It didn't take me long to figure out, well, this is a different logo, but this isn't any different. When I first hit the road recruiting in spring of '03, and people didn't even know me, but as soon as I walked into school, half the people didn't like me. Oh, it's the Clemson guy, or whatever. Well, that just was normal to me. It was no different in Alabama. You walked in, it's the Alabama guy. It's because the Auburn is half and half. And I came up in a time where the stadium was half and half. We played in Birmingham, all the way for most of those games. And then kind of the latter part of my career is when we started going back and forth, Alabama-Auburn. So coming here was a very natural thing for me. It just felt normal that people don't like you. That felt normal, and felt normal to, go on the road in recruiting in the state and have people instantly judge you because you have a logo on your shirt. That felt normal. So I love that. And then I've experienced everything. Won big, lost big, won close, lost close. I've experienced all of that, in this rivalry as well. And it's special. It really is. It means a lot to a lot of people. So never gets old. And, we had the 1 year we missed with COVID. So this is it's a big deal to a lot of people. So I've just always embraced it because it's just natural to me.
I've been taking a crash course on it and talking to a bunch of people. Talked to Danny Ford about it this week, and he mentioned your '08 game. And that was kind of like the cherry on top, that you were the guy who could really do this. What do you remember about that game? How do you look at that game?
08 game? Well, I mean, probably not here if it wasn't for the 08 game. So I think that was a noon game, I think. That was a noon game. I just remember it being very gloomy. It felt like 6 o'clock, but it was actually a noon game. And I just remember it had been such a blur, 7 weeks, and now it's kind of coming to an end. And if you win I knew that if we won the game, then I think Terry Don was going to be able to have enough clout to probably give me a chance. And if we lost the game, he was going to have to probably fight a little harder, and I don't know what would have happened. Would have been probably a lot tougher for him to give me the opportunity, but certainly winning that game, I think it was 31-17, or I don't know what was it? 31-14, and winning that game just kind of solidified the opportunity, and so it was a great day for sure. I'll never forget that ever, just a special moment after the game, a special day the next day, because I came over and met with Terry Don and Billy D and President Barker, and they told me I was going to get the job, and so that was a really cool time for sure. So never ever forget that moment. And I had you just prepare and you have no idea what's going to happen. And they were a really good team. Obviously, Coach Spurrier, the job he did there. But it was a big win.
Coach, it's been 9 years since you lost to your rival, but I guess you have a sense of what that desperation is like for those players, having lost 5 to them yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why every year. I mean, you just put everything you got into it, and try to. Doesn't matter what the records are. Doesn't matter if there's a streak, and none of that stuff matters. I mean, you got to play well in this game, and you're going to get their best. They're going to get our best, and at the end of the day, it comes down to execution and doing what you got to do to win the football game. Blocking, tackling, throwing, catching, taking care of the football. Being sound in special teams, executing in the red zone. I mean, there's a lot that you got to do. Once the emotion kind of gets out of the way, it's all about football. So you got to stay focused on those things in games like this and not get distracted, by all the pomp and circumstance that comes along with it. It's at the end of the day, it's a football game, and most fired up team ain't gonna win. It's the team who executes the best. It's the team that does the things that wins football games. That does those things the best. That's who wins. And again, I mean, we've got. Great respect for them. Certainly, I think Shane's done an amazing job. I mean, he really has. I mean, you just see their team with a lot of energy, a lot of belief, and we got to play well. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter however many we've won. It doesn't matter. You got to play well, and you got to earn it this Saturday.
Did you reach out to him after the win, or is this one of those weeks where you just kind of wait and see him on the field Saturday?
No, I'll see him. I'll see him Saturday.
His program is built on some similar cultural, holistic things as yours. I'm curious, before he became a head coach, before he even knew that he might end up there, did he ever pick your brain on what he might do when he took left?
I don't know the inner workings of their program, and we have talked many times over the years, but not specifically sat down with him and gone through specific things. Just really organic conversations that have happened naturally.
You mentioned all the different rivalry games that Alabama here you've been involved in. So is 08 the high point? Is there a specific low point? Because you said you had highs, you had lows.
Yeah, 2013, 5 in a row, 6 turnovers. Yep, that was pretty low. I thought we had the better team. I think Coach Spurrier thought we had the better team. I was telling radio people last night. He called me the next day to almost apologize. Like, I don't know why y'all turned that ball over. I don't understand it. I'm like, I don't either, Coach. But yeah, so that was probably the. I mean, they're all bad. It don't matter if you've lost 5 in a row. If you lose 1 in a row, when you lose this game, it stinks. Period. It doesn't matter. You can win 20 in a row. And when you lose this game, it stinks. There's nothing good about it. And same thing, when you win it, it's great. and that's been that way forever and ever and ever in a rivalry game, and always will be. But specifically, that was a disappointing day because again, I really thought we had we had 6 turnovers and we still had a chance, late in the game, but it was a tough day for us.
Coach, since you brought up turnovers, I guess, is there anything you can do differently than what you do every week in practice? Is it psychological at this point?
Yeah, probably. I mean, Davis Allen has never fumbled ever. I don't know, guy put a good hit on the ball. So, same thing with Brenny. Pretty good ball security. Guy put a good hit on the ball. So we just got to, I think you just have to keep coaching the fundamentals and really stress things in practice. You do everything you can with your scouts but you don't want, you got to go play. And, hopefully it's one of those things we just kind of play our way out of. But the difference is we've been getting them. So we've been getting takeaways, and I know from a stat standpoint, we finished, I guess, -1, but we really finished +1. As far as how we track things. When you stop somebody 4th and 1 in the scoring zone, that's a turnover. You get a safety, that's points and a turnover, because you get points and the ball. So it doesn't go down in the book that way. So that's why you still win 40-10 because we were +1 in the margin. Same thing the week before. And the one game we lost, we didn't do that. We were negative. So if we can just kind of keep getting them and just cut that down, good things will happen for us. But it's just, some basic things, really basic things, and just got to keep executing the fundamentals.
So you face a great quarterback, and this is a quarterback that struggled, but then last week just had maybe the best game of his entire career.
He was awesome. He made some throws that were, you can't defend. You can't defend it. If you go back and really watch it, they had guys there, and it's the difference. It's that much is the difference in that touchdown catch to who's it 6 and an incomplete. It's an inch, but that's the game. The throw down the sideline. He just made some beautiful plays. He bought time. He extended some plays, and then his guys made plays. They made a ton of plays. He's a 5-star quarterback for a reason, and a starter at Oklahoma for a reason, and has done a lot of great things. He's a really, really talented player. We've seen a bunch of them this year. We've had a lot of them on our schedule throughout the year, and he's definitely got all the tools.
You see some similarities in him and DJ just in the way, like, everybody loved them this time, a year plus ago, and then they had to, everybody's criticizing them, and then they come back and kind of show why it is everybody loved them in the first place?
I probably, they both have had, other than DJ's still here, obviously they made a change at Oklahoma, and so he moved on. But, again, I think the quarterbacks get, a lot of blame sometimes. And, like last year, for example, DJ didn't play well, but we weren't very good around him either. And, I think that it's taken them some time to kind of hit their stride this year. And now those kids are making plays for him. But he's a very talented player. And, they both have kind of had their ups and downs. But, DJ's really played well for us. Outside of 2 games, he's played well. He's 21-5 as a starter or something like that. He's a winner, and he's a great leader. And he's an unbelievably committed guy. So I don't know Spencer. I've never met him, I don't think. But I got a lot of respect for him as a player, and he's got all the tools.
Comparing his recent performances to what he did Saturday night, you notice that they were doing some things differently with him, quicker getting it out.
Yeah, they did a good job schematically and some formations and some things, and they mixed in a lot of wildcat and a lot of crossers. Had complemented things with some easy outlet passes in the screen game, but they took a lot of shots, and guys made some unbelievable plays. But he made some throws. They had a lot of max protection. Tennessee caught Tennessee in a bunch of man coverage, and they have max protection. And it's just my guy's better than your guy, but the quarterback put the ball on the money. Incredibly accurate. So that's really it. It's really not complicated. They just blocked them and caught the ball better, and got the ball to the back in some flats a couple times, and You know, I mean, they hit a 3rd and 20, a 3rd and 17 on some deep crossers. You know, with just accurate throws and good protection.
Coach, how would you characterize DJ as a runner? Because it doesn't look like he's running very fast, but some of these moves he's made in the open field and his vision, I mean.
He's got that stanky leg. You give him the stanky leg. He's just confident now. I mean, he's gone from a guy that wasn't very confident running the ball to now he's very confident. And he's faster than you think. He's way more athletic than you think, but he's big and strong. And he breaks a lot of tackles, and he's a big man to get down. I mean, he's 238 pounds, and he's got a good understanding of how to set things up. So you know, he sees it. He's got good vision as a runner. You know, he may not be a Barry Sanders as far as change of direction, but he's got good vision and he can see it, and he does a nice job of, you know, changing direction. But he's just, bottom line, he's just worked really hard at it, and he's just much more confident. And he's been a big factor for us, for sure.
You talked about the emotions of this game for the seniors. They're now experiencing a lot of lasts, and this will very much be their last game at Death Valley the next time they come back on a game day. They'll be fans. Have you had conversations with them about just kind of embracing and relishing in this moment?
Yeah, we kind of do that last week, honestly. And we I don't remember what year we started doing that, but it was somewhere, I don't know if it was 12, 13, 14, somewhere in that range. But because I just felt like when our last game was here, there was already a lot of emotion. And then you throw that into and all the families and all the stuff going on. I just think, you know, it was just better to move that. So we kind of deal with that last week. And then this week, you know, they've kind of been through that. They've processed it. They'll come down the hill as a group, just, you know, but all the senior day stuff, man, we just try to make it all about the game. And I think because, again, there's enough emotion involved. Certainly they know it's their last game in the Valley and they want to play well. And that's really what we try to put the focus on is just, you know, let's play well. Let's try to, you know, finish with no regrets. You know, let's finish the right way and be plenty of time to reflect.
Coach, unfortunate about Marcus Tate, but showed a lot of improvement, didn't he, from freshman
Yes,
to sophomore year?
he really did. I mean, he played really well, and he just night and day. Just, you know, just incredible improvement from where he was last year. Learning, the game was fast. Man, he's physical. He's athletic. He could play left tackle for us, no problem. You know, and he worked a lot of left tackle this year. Not as much in the games as you know what we work him in practice and stuff, but. He's a great kid. He's really grown as a young man, and just proud of him. You know, and again, disappointed that he's not going to get to finish with us, but I'm thankful that he got to play, you know, 11 games, and his confidence is through the roof. And I'm thankful that it's not something that's, you know, it's not an ACL or something like that. He'll bounce back and be ready to roll.
I guess looking at Trent Simpson back at that nickel Sam spot, I guess what is it about his skill set or him as a player that makes him so effective in space, operating that way?
He's just so fast and big. You know, you don't see many guys that are his size, almost 240 pounds, that can just accelerate like him. He's strong. You know, he's just a natural guy in space, and he's got 2 years of experience at it. He's got 9 games playing inside in the box, which is different. And you know, it just kind of the best thing for our team right now is where we are, and you know, so it's been good. I thought he played well. We only had 42 snaps last week on defense, and he was pretty productive in that role. And you know, we played some nickel and stuff as well, but he did a nice job. But he can come off the edge. He can run people down. He can cover, and you know, just a unique talent.
I guess you guys said his projection you thought for the NFL was.
Yeah, he'll most likely be an in the box guy at the next level. That's one of the things that, it's one of the reasons we moved him inside. Plus with Barrett and kind of where he was coming off his freshman year, and he's a unique guy as well. But yeah, he'll most likely be a Will at the next level. He can play Sam as well, but I don't see him being a nickel guy. You'll see him transition a little bit more like Isaiah Simmons.
Coach, this will be the 7th opponent you face this season that's been ranked at some point. Next week will be an 8th. You can stack that schedule up against just about anybody in the playoff race, can't you?
Yeah, I mean it's been a tough schedule all year. Every game is a tough game. It's hard to win. People like to. There's a lot of narratives that people like to put out there, but all you got to do is just pay attention to college football. It's really hard to win. You can look at last week as a perfect example. It's really, really hard to win, especially consistently. In college football, dealing with young people, anybody can have a bad day. Anybody. I mean, it's a tough game, and college football, there's a lot of parity, and you can have injuries. There's a lot of things that go into it, and anybody can have a day. And there's 4 undefeateds and 2 teams with 1 loss. So hard to win, man. Hard to win.
I have some Thanksgiving questions for you.
Okay.
Need to know if you game plan your dinner plate the same way you do a game, like how do we attack first compared to second, and not to get controversial, but do we like cranberries?
I absolutely do not like cranberry sauce. I've never eaten cranberry sauce, so I'm out of that. Put me on whatever side that is. But yeah, I mean, I'm turkey. I'm pretty simple. Turkey. My mom's chicken and dressing, which is amazing. Mac and cheese, some corn, and then some beans. Pretty simple. Hopefully, there's some pecan pie, maybe carrot cake. That's about it. But in multiple plates. What's that?
Do we do salt first, savory second, or do we pile it all in one?
Yeah, I kind of eat one thing at a time. Occasionally I'll take a bite of something here or there, but I don't usually just mix it up. I keep it all neat and orderly. Put some pepper. Not a big salt guy, but a lot of pepper. And then a good roll.
Did you have those plates when you were little with the dividers that kept all your portions?
I think, somewhere along the line, maybe at elementary school or something, I think they gave you those. You had the little spot for your utensil and the square piece, so you could put your pizza there, and had those little things, the little green trays. I don't know if they still do that or not, but I don't really remember them at home.
What is Bo Collins' availability for Saturday?
He's gonna be ready to roll.
When they use a guy like Bell the way they do, what are the challenges that presents to defense?
Well, it's kind of been out of necessity. I don't think they want him to be their tailback, but they're trying to win, and they're using their best players. It's just good coaching. If they got 1 and 21, I don't think they're going to put 0 back there in their place. But first of all, it shows their confidence in him. It shows how talented that kid is, and it just shows good coaching. You can look at us last year with the challenges that we had with some injuries down the stretch. We just had to manufacture things and find a way, and sometimes that's what you got to play the hand you're dealt. So that's what they've done. They've gone to some Wildcat stuff. They've gotten Joyner back involved to create, just first downs and challenges. He's a really good player. He sees things. He's a good decision maker back there as far as do I keep it, do I give it? Knows how to process things. And but yeah, Zero's a big old dude, man, when he's back there in the backfield. So I think they just done what they need to do to give himself a chance to be successful.
Is Will Shipley the most well-rounded running back you've had here, from the start since CJ maybe?
Probably. I would say Ellington was a lot like that. Andre Ellington. I don't know if you remember him or not, but he was a very dynamic kid. He could do it all as a returner, a great receiver out of the backfield, explosive. He was I would say probably CJ and Andre. You know, Gallman was just different. Gallman was violent like Shipley, because Shipley's got a lot of violence to his game, but not quite as dynamic as Ship. ETN, you know, kind of developed into that dynamic. You know, he didn't show up that way. I mean, he couldn't catch a pass when he got here. You know, and not that he couldn't, he just had never really done it. And so you look at how we ended up using him. He was a returner. He was a big-time receiver. You look at how many catches he had, you know, his last year here, and then, you know, how he grew. You know, he's explosive, and he ran violent too. So I think those guys are all similar. I mean, certainly just showing up here, you know, Shipley, even Spiller. You know, Spiller was not a guy who had, you know, done what we do, and so he had to kind of learn how to be a true running back and run the zone and run the counter and the power and all those things. I mean, he was more of an you know, option kid coming out of high school, like Travis, but he was just very natural, like Ship, when it came to catching the ball and all those type of things, return game, et cetera. So we've had a few of those guys, but Ship's definitely, he's right there with that group, you know, when it comes to all the tools that he has.
Natural leadership skills too.
Yeah.
Just a ton of energy that
Yep.
people kind of gravitate to, right?
Yep. He's a very natural leader. He's been that way since. I mean, he's one of the few freshmen that have come in here and has led, and the guys follow. You know, you don't usually see that, but that's just a very natural thing for him. But it just becomes because of how he works. I mean, as I've said this many times, he's never lost a sprint from the time he got here as a freshman. Like, he wins every sprint. I mean, he wins the first one, he wins the 20th one. And he's not that freshman that's going to come in and, like, doesn't want to show up the upper class. He doesn't care. You know, he don't care about any of that. He just wants to be great, and he works that way. And if you can't keep up with that, it's your problem. That's just kind of how he is. But he's a great kid. But when he's on the field, man, he is a unbelievable competitor.
You look at like how last year finished for you guys. I mean, how much of that was him sort of blossoming into his own and doing it injured at the same time?
Yeah.
Those last 5-6 games of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it just, you know, I mean, we did everything we could those last 6 games to just find a way to win. And, I mean, we did a little bit of everything. We just kept trying to get the ball to our best players, manufacture some stuff. I thought DJ really led us well down the stretch there. He was hurt, bad knee, bad finger. And, you know, he's a leader like Shipley. He's respected like Shipley. They're just different in how they go about it. But the combination of those guys, certainly, I mean, he just kind of willed us to some games. I mean, you think about the run he had against Florida State, for example. You know, I mean, it was just awesome. But he's relentless that way. I mean, the more he touches it, the better he gets. You know, the more physical it is, the better he gets. So he's just one of those guys that, you know, everybody, you hate to play against him. Everybody wants him on their team, for sure.
Coach, how did Randall do in practice yesterday with the broken bone in his hand, and how much of a concern does that make ball security after the catch for him?
Well, I mean, like I said, he's got strong fingers. It's kind of right there, and it'll be protected. But, you know, he did fine. So we'll certainly see how it is and have him protected, and, you know, hopefully he'll get used to it this week, practicing with it. But, I mean, ball security is a concern, period. Good hand, hurt hand. I mean, if you watch our last few games, it's a concern.
Mike Brown said earlier this week that he's already hearing from players and player agents about, you know, I'm thinking about transferring, you know, or is there a spot? Do you think the transfer portal windows are actually helping at all, or is that stuff just kind of moving in a different direction so that they're kind of coming in the back door as opposed to the front?
I mean, I don't. If you guys are going, I mean, regardless of when you have a day you can go in, I mean, we've already had a couple guys leave already. So, okay, they're going in the portal. They can't officially go in until whatever day, but I don't know that changes anything. doesn't really affect anything. But at least you got a window, I guess, where it's official. But guys are going to leave. They're going to leave. So.
Do you have to approach your own team differently? Have conversations at this point in the year to say what are you thinking about? Where are you going? Or do you just say look, we'll get to it at the end of the year? And if you're
We're focused on South Carolina. I ain't worried about none of that. We're just trying to beat South Carolina. I'm not focused on any of that stuff.
Any questions for Coach from Zoom?
I know obviously South Carolina made plays against Tennessee, but what did maybe Tennessee not do defensively to affect them the way that other teams have this year when they've struggled so on offense?
Well, they missed several tackles, first of all. Missed some big tackles, which led to some big plays. And then, just coverage issues. I didn't think they affected the quarterback. He was very comfortable. He had a lot of time on a lot of plays to get comfortable. And then they didn't make the competitive plays. I mean, it seemed like every competitive play where they were in position to make the play, they didn't make. So that's it.
Coach, this is Amanda Poole with WatchFox. I was just going to ask, this will be BT Potter's last home game after what feels like he's been here for 10 years, but it's officially his last year. I guess when you talk about his growth, what's the thing that you think he's grown most throughout his time at Clemson?
Just his maturity in how he goes about, just the process week to week of being ready. I mean, from when he came in here as a freshman, I think he was just not as focused as he needed to be. It just kind of came easy to him. And, man, he handles himself like a pro. He really does. I mean, he's going to be a great pro, but he's just his maturity. He's just become a very mature young man. He's become a great leader. He's one of the more. He's going to be a captain for us this week, as a matter of fact. And just his routine, becoming very, very committed to his routine, week in and week out, game in and game out, kick in and kick out. But that's to be the main two things: just his maturity and his leadership, and just overall commitment to. The focus that you have to have week in and week out to be consistent in his role.
Hey, Dabo, it's Anna. I know you mentioned it on your show last night, red zone defense. What are some areas there that you feel like you can improve upon?
Yeah, we just got to cut down on the touchdowns. I mean, and it's details. It's really that simple. It's just details, especially in some coverage situations. That's the main thing.
Dabo, Wells for them, number 3 of receivers. Seems like he's maybe become Spencer's go-to guy. Just what do you see from him, and how have you seen him kind of evolve this year?
Yeah, he's a really good player. I think he's their leading receiver. He's got good hands. He can run. He's a confident kid. He's got a ton of experience. He came from somewhere, JMU, I think. A very, very polished guy, and you just see his veteran confidence, out on the field. But he made a couple great ones last week as well. Went up over the one kid. That's what I meant earlier about competitive plays, where they had a guy there, and he just made it. So he's definitely a guy that you can tell they got a lot of confidence in and want to get the ball to.
Anyone else for Coach?
I'll ask you one more on Ship. Was there a moment in a recruiting that you were like, this guy is not just special on the field, but he's going to be a really great fit for us? When did it kind of gel that this is the perfect Clemson guy?
Oh man, first time I met him, watched him in camp, came to high school camp. I guess maybe his 10th grade year or junior year or whatever, but early. One of the first times I met him, just watching him work. His presence when you meet him and you spend time with his family. I mean, they're he's just got an energy to him and a confidence to him that is you just feel it. And then you watch the tape, you go, holy moly! But watching him in camp, the first time he came, I mean, you could tell this kid is really special. how he worked, how he competed, how he was leading everybody else, get in line, whatever it was. I mean, he just was different, from the get-go.
You talk about Shipley. Is there anything unique about Antonio Williams in terms of his demeanor and the person he is
Yep.
that allows him to lead you guys in receiving?
Yep. He's just the opposite of Shipley. Shipley, you see him, you hear him. If he's not on the field, you still hear him because he's, yelling at everybody else and cheering on whoever made the play. I mean, that's just who he is every day, every play. Whereas Antonio, you never hear him. He's just a very quiet, about his business kid, very confident. Very confident. That was one of the things that stood out about him early on, was he just had an elite confidence to him. That he never carried himself like a freshman. Didn't matter what we were doing, and then didn't take long to see that he had more. He had a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom, and especially from a technical aspect at his position, that most freshmen don't, and the game was never fast for him. I mean, he just kind of took to it, and once he kind of learned the offense and terminology and all those type of things. I mean, but from a route running standpoint, a technical standpoint, just very confident showing up. And then once again, he kind of got the mechanics of the offense down. He went just like that. But he's just a very, very ultra competitive kid. But he just carries himself, you'd never know he's in the room, and you would never notice him until he gets on the field. So two different guys, two different approaches, but that's just who they are. He's just a very cool, calm kid, but loves to compete and loves to play, whereas Ship is not cool and calm. He is angry on the field, and off the field he's just a ball of energy. And he's the biggest supporter of everybody, and he loves to support and cheer for the other guys, and it's just, you just hear him all the time. That's just who he is. So they both are very comfortable in their skin.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Okay.
Coach Simpson will be up
Appreciate it.
first.